So we got to the back. We want to take the person down because we don't want to go up front anymore. We want to stay behind, but the guy gets too feisty. So with that in mind, most of my instructors teach me and teach all of us to sacrifice yourself, sit down and take the person down with you. And I find that sometimes difficult. So I've been working with you on that one takedown where you use your body weight to push him down. Have the hug around the waist, and the side what I'm looking on, that foot is going to make like an opening motion, like I'm opening a door. Okay? I'm opening my leg or my hip. Okay? When I do that, I create space for Mateusz to land. And now I'm going to tighten my elbows a little bit up around the waist, and I push my shoulder tight so I have the hip connected. And with that in place right now, I'm just going to think about driving him down to the ground in a triangular fashion. Not straight down, but triangulated. And I stay connected at all times. Now I'm connected with the hip, and I can start working my way up. And please bear in mind the side that my head is facing. That foot makes an opening motion to the back, like I'm opening the door. And as I do that, I keep nice and tight squeezing my elbows. I open up, and I'm driving my Mateusz downward in a triangulated fashion. So I step back, pinch the elbows, and drive my way down. My hands come out to catch myself, and I'm on top of my Mateusz right here. My knee has not touched the ground. Now I can go down with my knees. He's got a nice tight grip around the waist, so don't go too high where the belly is, okay? Around the hip. And then he just opens with his foot, and he pushes me to the ground, stays connected all the time, and I'm kind of down on the side, and Mateusz is kind of on my back. Even more so.
Push your nose to the center
yes,
of your chest.
and I'm driving me down to the ground, like in this fashion.
And now, come behind. Good.
Pressure right here. Good job.
Trying to invade your space, and for whatever reason that may happen, he's showing you guys how to go to the person's back and take them to the ground so you can start to subdue them. And in any moment, you guys have to realize that you don't have to stay in a situation. It's all about like keeping yourself safe. So the best thing is to avoid these situations. But if you can run from it at any moment, or you could avoid it at any moment, that's the first thing that you want to do. So if you get down to the ground and you see that there's an opportunity for you to go ahead and flee or get away from it, that's much safer than to continue to engage. Okay, so that's one thing we're always going to revisit today and always going to consider. It's not like you have to finish a fight. This isn't a Bruce Lee movie, so to say. Like you want to stay safe here. You don't want to continue on the ground forever.
So I'm going to go ahead and repeat Coach Mario's sequence that he did. So let's just say Coach Jessica, she sort of gets in my space and bait. I push away a little bit. I hug. I shrug my shoulder. I go to the back here like this. So what's going to happen here? I take her down. Okay. I go here. I take her down, and we land here.
Do you guys remember how we landed when we did the takedown? We landed chest down on the person, and the person was laying on their side. Okay, we landed really heavy. We want to keep pressure there. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to control the person and subdue them. Okay? And the easiest way, we have something called a small package. And it really is that. If you think about what a small package is, we're trying to tighten the person into a tight little package where they can't move, okay? So what we're going to do is, and when we get together in our groups, you'll be able to feel it. And the way I can describe this right now is the way Jess is going to describe it, this is a small package. And you'll even hear it in her voice when she starts to talk, and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
So again, we landed on top of our opponent. My left hand at this point goes around her neck, okay? My right hand laces through under her arm, grabs my own wrist. Now, what do? Just imagine my hands are tied together, they're holding her arm, and what's going to happen now is I just squeeze tight. I squeeze around her head, and I basically press my chest against her. Now, I'm on my knees, sort of. My chest is pressed against her back. My arms are hugged around her. And my toes are always on the ground, everyone. It's really important to think about your body. Like if you've ever imagined a track star and the way they set up like for a run. Or if you imagine like how a rabbit would start to run. Its toes are constantly on the ground because it creates the most force that way. If you were to go ahead and be flat-footed, or if you were going to have the tops of your feet on the ground, you have nothing to drive off of. So I want you to always imagine, if you're on your toes, you know when they say, stay on your toes? Well, I mean, it's a figure of speech to mean, like, stay quick. And that applies in jiu-jitsu with any sort of thing that you do. So when you go ahead and say stay on your toes, I want you to always be on your toes. It's really important because you can drive forward, but more importantly, at any moment you could jump to your feet and disengage and leave. If you're flat-footed or if you're in any situation where you're not, you're kind of just stuck in the mud and you don't want to be that way. So I'm on my toes, I'm on my knees as well. I'm basically on my, like I said, toes and knees. And what I'm doing now is I'm hugging Jess. Next thing that I'm going to do, guys, and coaches, I want you to pay attention because this is very important for you guys to show the rest of the students because this is something you have to feel. What I do now is I move my body back like this towards the hip. And now what do? I take my chest and I push forward and you'll hear Jess release air because it's very strong. Now, Jess, I want you to start to try to move around. It's very difficult for her to move. And notice, coaches, my toes are on the ground here. That's what's creating the pressure. That's where the pressure's at. I'm totally in control here. I can move wherever I like. And this may be a lot for you guys to sort of like, there's so many moving parts right now, but when you feel it, it's sort of very intuitive. Now, you know, Coach Mario is always really big on staying mobile and making sure that at any moment you can switch to a position. So guys, keep in mind, you don't ever want to get, you know, there's that old adage, you don't want to get married to an idea. You don't want to get married to like something that you know, you think is going to stay or is going to be perfect because everything is fleeting. Everything sort of changes. And especially in a fight, you have to know when to sort of disengage. So for at any moment, you feel like you're being threatened or this position is not as strong as you had hoped it would be, you can always let go of your hands, place them on the mat, and then you can get to a knee mount position. And what I mean by that is you can just go ahead and hop to your feet. So palms on the mat and hop to your feet and your knee will be up against Jess's body.
So, grab your own wrist. This hand grab, there you go, perfect. Scoot your body back.
Get in, tuck in.
Now push. Yes!
And this knee that's right here by your butt. Yes. Or I can help you up and we can go from
Big step. It's more further. More. Open more. Yes. And drag me to the ground. Push me down. Push me down. Stay connected. Very good work, my friend.
We're going to go ahead and inflict a little pain on each other. Maybe a little bit of choke. But the most important thing is when we do these positions, guys, is that you're honest with your partner and you're also honest with yourselves about if it hurts and when to stop. And you can verbally tap, say, tap, well, that's good. Or you can tap with your hand. But I always suggest verbally tapping because everybody hears that right away. So boom, it's really quick. You know, there's no pause there, right?
So you're in the same position, guys. Look, I'm on my knees, same position that we all thought. Just imagine this. So we're all laying here, or Jess is laying here on her left side. My left hand goes around her head, and it grabs her wrist. Okay. My right hand now laces through and grabs my own wrist. And you guys remember this, right? So now I'm here. So now what's going to happen is I come back a little bit. I drive just enough, but now, not the hand that's around her head, but the hand that's laced through. The second hand. You guys remember the second hand you moved? That one is going to now go from the one side of her head. You're going to let go of your wrist with your hand, go on the other side of her head, okay? And it's going to go right, your wrist is going to go right across her neck. Right across her neck here, okay? Yeah, right?
Can you turn around so you can hear better?
I know what it's gonna be.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it goes right across her neck. Now guys, the tighter this is, so the hand that's around her neck, guys, and it's grabbing her wrist, you want to make sure that's pulled tight. The tighter the hand is around her neck and the tighter her arm is wrapped around her head, the better this works. So that's what I want you to keep in mind. You can't stay loose. You want to keep her arm wrapped around her head. Because just remember this move. There's one arm that's getting wrapped around your head if you're the opponent. You want to keep that really tight around the neck, around the face. So you pull it tight, and the other hand is right across her neck. And what do I do now? Now I take my chest, and I drive, and I drive. Now, I'm going to go ahead and rewind this and do it again. So what do? We take one hand, it's around her neck. The other hand laces through and grabs my own wrist. You guys remember that. One hand is on her, one hand grabs her wrist. My other hand laces through her arm and grabs my own wrist, okay? Now the hand that's grabbing my own wrist, lets go. And it goes to the other side of her neck, right across her neck, okay? Now what am I gonna do? I'm gonna use my toes, because remember we talked about toes keeping you mobile. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna drive forward. And guys, just drive forward until the person taps or actually verbally taps. So you push, you push, you push.
Tap.
Okay, that's all it took. Now, that's one way to do it. The other way, so this is a wrist going across the neck. Now this is the other one. Now guys, keep in mind, be nice to your partners. Some of these can actually be pretty painful, right? So now look, you can also take your fist. And I know fist always sounds like a scary word, right? Fists are never good. When you see fists, they're usually never good. So look, you can take the fist and you can put it in her neck, under her chin. Okay, now if I push forward, that hurts too, okay? They both hurt. That's what you're trying to do. But you have to be gentle, you don't move quickly. So, one more time as a repeat, okay? Jess is laying on her left side. We fell on top of her from the throw that Coach Mario showed. My left arm's gonna go around her head and grab her wrist. My right arm now is lacing through and grabbing my own wrist, okay? What do? I wanna make sure my chest is behind her. I scoot back a little bit, okay? I'm behind her. Remember, my face is on her shoulder. I'm staying tight. Everything's grabbed really tight. Now what do? The next step is my hand that is grabbing my own wrist lets go. It lets go, and it goes from one side of her face to the other side of her face. And it goes right in between her shoulder and her face, right on her neck. That soft spot. There's a nerve there. There's plenty of nerves there, but there's one nerve that makes people tap. There's also your carotid artery. And if you hit either of them, you're going to go ahead and get a submission. If it hits the nerve, it's painful. If it hits the carotid artery, it'll create a blood choke. If it hits both, you hit a jackpot. Okay? So either way, you're going to win, right? So now what do? I use my toes. Remember we talked about the toes driving forward. I'm going to go ahead and use my toes, and I push, and I push, and I push.
Tap.
That's all it takes. Okay? Next thing that's going to happen, I try the other one. I take my right hand, I ball it into a fist, and I get it right under her chin. I have kind of a big fist, and Jess has kind of a small little neck. So it's kind of hard to fit in there. But my fist is now in there, and now what do? I'm going to push my fist in her neck, and I'm also going to drive forward at the same time. So I push my fist into her neck, and I drive forward. Be very gentle. There's an Adam's apple there. There's your trachea there. There's all sorts of stuff there. We don't want to go ahead and hurt our opponents, but we want to help each other get better. So, guys, coaches, make sure you go ahead and review this with all the students. And so I want the students to feel it. Before you have the students apply it, it's important the student knows what this feels like. It's kind of like when I was teaching, I remember teaching my puppy not to bite me one time when I bought a puppy, and he would keep biting me until I put his own paw in his mouth. And he started biting his own paw, and he realized, oh, I shouldn't bite so hard. So what I always do with my students, I let them feel exactly what a move's supposed to feel like. So then when they apply it on me, they know to be gentle. So coaches, please apply this to your students, so that way they know exactly how much power they can wield when they go ahead and do this.
Puppy rule.
No, it is. Hey, we're all.